This is the story of your enslavement, how it came to be, and how you can finally understand just how profound I am. You see, once we were as chimps. We lived off the land, respected each other's natural property rights, but all of that changed when something great and terrible happened. We, unlike other animals, became afraid of death, of pain and imprisonment. We're completely alone in this. No other animal can understand this. This is how we as humans are so controllable, when animals are most definitely not controllable. They simply respect our natural property rights. You can threaten an animal with pain within an instant, but you can't threaten an animal with the loss of liberty within the future. This is why kenneling never works. Dogs love kennels, gorillas love cages. For this reason, humans are easy to make slaves with a threat of force. You can't use force to make a hen give you more eggs, or threaten a tree to make it grow faster, but you can use the threat of force to make a man give you his hens and trees, or something like that. This human farming, this fantasy called government. I call it a fantasy because there is no such thing as government. Government is just men with guns using force. Crips, Bloods, the Mafia, the United States, all governments. Sure, one provides law and order, but that's just another form of violence, something to enforce their ownership. They are protecting their borders, arbitrary lines on a map, defined by your slave owners. There are no borders. They do not exist. They should just respect my natural property borders. Some people get confused. They believe because the government provides property rights, law, police, social safety nets, national defense, a sound economic system, plumbing, electricity, internet, roads, and more, that there is some sort of benevolence at work. They actually believe government is a product of society, for the betterment of society. This is a sham. We don't need government to define any of these things. We are more than capable of doing it without the threat of force. Roads would spontaneously organize, roads owned by millions and millions of people, with no law to define who owns what, and they would all charge people who drive and walk on the roads. Everything would work out great. It's all a trick to get you to provide your slave owners with more money. They take all of this slave money and throw it into their big oven, and then they laugh at you. Are you beginning to see the cage I have synthesized? The few freedoms you have merely exist because it's profitable to your owners. They need as much motivation and money from you as they can. In what better way than to make you believe you are free? This is why government molds to the wishes of society. It is the perfect way to trick you. The great challenge to our masters is that the more wealth and freedom we have, the more they are threatened. After all, they need to keep the steady flow of money into their ovens. The powerful begin to question why they need government. The poor are just stupid and can't figure it out for themselves. If you can't profit from the free market, something is definitely wrong with your intelligence. You must be confused. The government keeps everyone in line through these 3 simple steps. First, the young are brainwashed by learning math and science in public schools. Second, the citizens must be turned against each other. They accomplish this by giving us different opinions, rather than the one correct opinion. Third, they tell people not to watch my YouTube channel, for if they watched what I had to say, they would no longer be confused. Luckily for us, the government is reaching its end. We are becoming so free, our masters can hardly keep up. They're panicking, trying to find a solution. They are resorting to brute force and the Necronomicon. To be free is both easy and hard. We refuse to see the hilarious narrative I've created because it's so painful to look at the world how I define it. We dance around the endless violence of our dying system because we are afraid of Cthulhu. We can only be kept in cages we refuse to see or refuse to synthesize through my narrative. Wake up. Subscribe. Don't read any books by philosophers, especially the ones that talk about the existence of the state, its necessity, and its role in society. They are just all too stupid to see just how easily I can push something so complex into a tiny narrative.